I'm Monica, and as Hilary mentioned, I will be your MC for today. So I'd like to thank Creative Mornings for partnering with BrisAsia again this year. So a little bit about me. So I'm an instructional designer / e-learning developer by day, but by night I actually work with Gemma Trung and Brisbane City Council to work on the public arts program for BrisAsia. So this will be my second year working with Gemma to create the public arts program. So our collaboration with Creative Mornings all started last year when we thought Creative Mornings would be the perfect forum and opportunity for our BrisAsia artists to meet like-minded people, but also to give insight into the monthly theme and how it relates to them. So let's welcome Chloe to the stage.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here today. Not that you really had a choice, but my name is Chloe Bennett and I go by the artist name of Yayo Chloe. You can just call me Chloe, and I am a full-time artist here in Brisbane. And so the theme of this month's breakfast is invest. Yay! And I'm going to be really honest. I struggle with the concept of investing. I think the problem is I am highly unreliable when it comes to choosing what I invest into. You know, I'm either super cautious or I am like ridiculously impulsive. And it's a struggle. If it comes like to anything food or clothes related, I am out of control impulsive. You know, I once invested $600 in a scarf. And it's not like we just had scarf money just lying around at the time. No, this was like money from presents, money from savings, rent, you know? And we live in Queensland, so the thing literally gets used like twice a year. Always inside my house with the air conditioning on. And so then, on the other hand, I guess I am what you would call a textbook smart investor. And I am really cautious in weighing up the sacrifice for the investment against any potential benefits. And usually, the sacrifice is just, it's way too much. The risk is far too big. And this has always been true when it comes to my art practice and my art career. You know, a career in the creative industries, it was the dream for me. I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I left school, but I knew I wanted to do something creative. I wanted to do something fun, and I wanted to do something that I loved. And so straight out of school, I enrolled in a visual arts degree. Now, eventually, through this degree, the realities of what a career in this industry, it became really daunting. The idea that I could pour my heart, my soul, my finances into this industry that would most likely spit me out with inconsistent work and unreliable income, and let's face it, probably a second and third job as a barista, it didn't seem like a wise investment. And so it was like at that point I became obsessed with making these smart career choices, making the safe career choice. And so I did what most people did back then when faced with like the crisis of their ill-chosen degree. I just slapped a dip out on the end. And in 2011, I became a teacher. Now, as far as careers go, you do not get more reliable than teaching. Yes, you have to spend a remarkable amount of time with teachers, and as a collective, they are not the greatest. But you are pretty much guaranteed a job. You are guaranteed weekends, holidays, a reliable salary, and although I didn't have like these hopes and dreams of becoming a teacher, it was familiar for me. I came from a family of teachers. Both my parents are teachers. My husband, Matt, he was already a teacher at the time. Both his parents are teachers. And as tragic as that is, it seemed safe. It seemed like the smart thing for me to do. And I feel like I got really lucky. Like I did get really lucky. Because I loved my time as a teacher, especially at the beginning. You know, I did lots of teachery stuff, like complaining about the photocopier and complaining about the students and complaining about other teachers complaining, you know. I felt like I really fit in and I was good at it. And it's like I felt like I had made the right career investment. And I invested everything into it. I really did. I put everything into it. However, about 2 years in, it started to feel like something was missing. I wasn't getting the same satisfaction that I once did when making the Year 8s cry. I know, it's like I realised I had invested everything into this teaching career. I was investing everything into encouraging and watching my kids create, that it's like I forgot any creative dream I had for myself. And it's like somewhere along the way, I kind of forgot a little bit who I was, what I loved, what I was about. And it just felt like I was in teacher mode all the time. You know, boring, pragmatic, you know, being safe. And although my personality probably had these traits already a little bit, it just felt like it was becoming my default. It felt like that's who I was, and that fun, impulsive side of me was kind of dying a little. Now, I didn't know how to deal with this like personality crisis that had presented itself, but I did know that I wanted to start creating again. And so on the 30th of December in 2015, I made my first Instagram post of my work. Now, originally, it was just a digital diary. I never saw this as any kind of investment, and I definitely did not consider it as like one of the most important investments I would make in my career. But in all honesty, that is kind of what it turned out to be. I don't think I would be here doing the things that I'm doing if I hadn't invested into that. Now, this isn't some kind of sponsored Instagram plug. We all know Instagram is a fickle bitch. And she has her issues. But when I started out with all this, that was all I had to feed my creative impulses. You see, at the time, I was living in Maryborough. Does anyone know of Maryborough? Or, no, put your hand down. It's embarrassing. Put it down. Put it down. For those of you who don't know, Maryborough, it's about 3 hours north, small regional Queensland country town, you know? Really, like, limited opportunities, limited number of Asians, lots of One Nation stickers, you know? They have a very strong inbreeding program. But it's like this place. It's this place that no one would expect you to start some kind of contemporary art career or any creative career, really. But that's what because of this platform, that's what I was able to do. I was able to build this audience that was not just my mum, and I was able to connect with other creatives around the world and share my work on this non-teachery level. And it's like those connections, those links, they help me remember that I was someone outside of teacher clone. Now, I think I only really started to feel the weight of what this could all lead to maybe a bit over a year after posting. So in 2017, I was asked to do a solo show in Hong Kong. And the hotel flew us over, and all of a sudden we were standing in front of this thing that I had built with this online platform. And it was wild. You know, we had an opening, people came, you know, people I didn't even know, people my mum didn't even have to bribe, and it was so crazy because it was in front of me. I could see it, I could experience it, and it was that point I got this real taste of what I was actually investing into, and I loved it. From that point, I just started to hustle, you know. I had seen a glimpse, just a tiny, tiny glimpse of the possibilities, and I wanted more. I started to make really great contacts. I picked up some sweet projects, and things on the outside were really good. However, I still had this like internal crisis going on. And if anything, it was just building. I wasn't enjoying teaching nearly as much, but I really liked that teacher's salary. You know, it kept all of this safe, risk-free. The problem was, I had finally had a taste of doing something I loved, something that fed me and nourished me, and I couldn't stop thinking about it, and I just wanted more of that. It was like the more I would create, the more I would start to feel like myself again. And yet, every day, I would go into work from like 8 to 4, and I would become this robot. This office works loving, plaid shirt wearing loser that I didn't relate to or even really like anymore. On top of that, 2018 happened. The school I was at, it was having a real moment. She was a hot mess. We had a new principal, and she was the living worst. And I was just straight up not having a good time, you know? I felt like this smart career investment that I had put everything into, I felt like it was not paying off at all. Simply, I hated my job at this point. And, you know, the best thing about it was always the kids, and they were just pissing me off every day. And I hated it. It was the worst, but it was the best, and it was the thing I needed. It was the kick in the ass that I needed to do something really dumb and impulsive. And so, at the end of 2018, I quit my job. And I decided I was going to invest everything into my art career. Now, it's been about a year, just over a year, since I've been out on my own. And it would be a really nice way to wrap all this up by saying that, you know, easiest decision I ever made, you know, never looked back. Donald Trump, he was impeached and kicked out of office in disgrace. But we all know that is not the case. Working freelance and investing in my art, into my creativity, it has been one of the most testing, exhausting, and at times soul-destroying things that I have ever done. And I taught year 8. They are the living spawn of Satan, I swear. You know, the doubts, the failures, the financial pressures, I have felt, and I still feel, the weight of every single thing that I have put into this investment. Everything that Matt and I sacrificed for the sake of my art. And honestly, some days it feels overwhelmingly crushing. But I feel like myself again, you know? Even on those shit days. The experience that experiences that I have had and the satisfaction I get from what I create is unmatched by anything I experienced in my teaching career. Investing into my creativity opened up things that I did not even know I could possibly dream about. You know, and honestly, the opportunity to create freely as my job, it's really fucking fantastic. And I feel extremely lucky. So what can you guys take from this today? Probably not much. Maybe just not to hire me for any investment-related talks in the future. All I will say to round off this painfully long talk is that I have learned that a worthwhile investment is not always considered the smart investment. And smart investments, they don't always pay off how you think they might. But when you are a creative and you're investing into your creativity, that is an investment in yourself. It's an investment into your purpose. And ultimately, an investment into your happiness. And that's just worth everything.
Cool. Well, thanks for that, Chloe. So our second speaker for today is Ying Lu. So let's welcome Ying to the stage.
So, hi, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys all enjoy the coffee and the breakfast. So, I'm absolutely honored to be here this morning. First of all, I would like to say a big thank you to Hillary and the team from CreativeMornings for organizing this event and for inviting me to this really cool venue to do this speech with regards to the theme Invest. Alongside with the two amazing artists, Chloe and Mark. And of course, thank you to Monica for all the help and support throughout BrisAsia Festival this month. So I'm sure all of you have heard about investments, and many of you might have even made them already, you know, stocks and real estates, bonds, wine, gold, things like that are pretty common among all of us. And So may I have a show of hands? How many of you believe that art is a long-term investment? Yep. So some of you do believe so, and some of you don't believe as much. That's okay. That's what makes us all different and unique. So recently I came across this quote. So I recently came across this quote on Instagram by the Contemporary Collective Gallery, and it says, "Buy the art, invest in the artist." And I was like, wow, that's damn right. I couldn't agree more on that. You know, I think art is being considered as a fruitful investment, and countless people are buying expensive pieces of art everywhere around the world. And, you know, art is a passion for many people, and in my case, is a lifetime passion. So I reckon that investing in your passion is like a very exciting, ongoing adventure, which allows you to grow as a person, to be a better person, and it's full of rewards in the long term. So passion is an emotional word and is defined as a strong feeling about a subject or a person, such as love or hate. Finding your passion unlocks prosperity and abundance. Investing in your passion might seem silly to many people, as you can't really visualize the instant returns. But there's truth to this, not completely, because you love something, you enjoy doing it, and the process becomes enjoyable. And when you invest in your passion, it's beneficial to look past the dollar sign, so the financial benefits. So investing in your passion can also be a form of self-investment. Self-investments can be understood as self-improvement because you improve your skills, expand your knowledge, explore your culture and yourself during the whole process. It can be any activity which makes you happy, which makes your life enjoyable, focused and clear. It's something which develops the understanding, allows achieving the sense of peace, and can provide assistance in growing along with the procedure. So, breaking down the word invest gives us 6 letters, INVEST. And I would like to enlighten what each letter means and to help us with the enlightenment of self-investment. So I stands for influence. So in reference to my passion for art, it's the driving force which keeps me to strive towards my goal. It creates a positive impact and helps in creating more art. N stands for nationality. In other words, my cultural background and awareness. It's a key inspiration that helps inform my artistic practice and personal growth. It also stands for never giving up. So, by the way, my apologies for not including that on there. Never giving up on the things you love and be patient. I mean, a good outcome always takes time. V stands for value, view and vision. The value of the emerging art is realized. The goal to be reached can be viewed, and the vision of the final outcome can be comprehended. E stands for effort, experience, and embrace. Efforts are made towards reaching the goal. The experience is gained by continuous learning and embraces the challenges one goes through the journey. S stands for story, success, seek and speak. So inspiration is taken from the stories, and there's a continuous seeking of knowledge and speaking of different experiences. And T stands for time. It's a priceless treasure for all of us. And it also stands for the number 10. So, where do I see myself as an artist in 10 years? Where do you see yourself as something in 10 years? So this question helped keeping my goals in perspective, and then I worked accordingly to achieve them. It's also considered as a lucky number in my Chinese culture. It means perfection in Chinese, 十全十美, that's how you pronounce it. And it should be kept in mind to achieve perfection, even though we are not perfect. It's all about trying your best to achieve your desired goal. So talking about cultures make me think of my recent work. This one is called The Priceless Treasure, which was being projected onto the William Joly Bridge as part of the BrisAsia Festival to celebrate Chinese New Year. So as you can see, there are many Chinese elements are infused in this work. The dumplings, the yin and yang, the traditional Chinese paper cut, and the panda, the cute little panda in the corner there, and the peach. Peach actually stands for long life, and also in the background it's infused with the blue and the white dots, which are the main colours of the Australian flag. So being a Chinese living in Australia, I've always try to depict both cultures into my art, as you can see. So I strongly believe that culture is a priceless treasure for all of us. And it's my goal to create art with cultural diversity, which appeals to various cultures, and portraying different cultures within my work is an artistic investment for me. And I respect all cultures and try to showcase them into my work. Especially my Chinese culture. So here I'm going to show you several more of my recent works. So this was done last year. Yep. So you can see all this on my Instagram. just go check it out. So yeah, so this artistic investment is a perfect way to pay way for me as an artist in this multicultural society. We are very lucky here in Australia, you know, living in a very multicultural country with people from all around the world. And therefore it's quite important for us to respect and value different cultures. So anyway, my opinion is investment should not only be associated with immediate, returns. If you're passionate about something, you can surely invest in that, and it will reward you two ways: doing the thing you love and getting potential returns for it. So yeah, thank you.
And for our final speaker today, we've got Mark de Potiers.
早晨，你好，我名係張兆良，多謝你今朝出嚟聽我講嘢。Just kidding. Hi. I will start off by acknowledging the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which we meet today, the Turrbal and Yagara peoples, and pay respect to their culture, which has incorporated rich creative and artistic practices and continues to do so. Sovereignty has never been ceded. Oh, thanks. All right. You can tell from the look of me that I work in arts finance. Today I will speak to the theme of investing with your chosen currency in the private sector. We'll begin with the best way to invest your funds. When you open an account, have you gone back to sleep yet? Let's wake up together. I'm not a morning person. I'm an adult. My partner, who happens to be one of those foreign morning people who likes to wake up at the sparrow's flutter of dawn. Ugh. My partner, who I told I was going to be a speaker at this event, laughed at me and said, "You know that you're speaking for Creative Mornings, right? Maybe you should ask if they can reschedule for a late brunch instead." Yes, they're very supportive. Well, I tried, and I'm not important enough to change anything for them, it seems. Not even these damn uncomfortable rock-hard seats that all your hot butt cheeks are sitting in right now. Apologies. But yes, I checked out all your delicious perky bottoms before. You all work out, it seems, or are holding in some flatulence. So here I am. I'm terrified. Hi everyone. Is it too early to have a scotch? Thanks to Chloe and Yin for speaking so eloquently. They're obviously morning people, which is strange because they work in the arts. And so do you. And yes, so do I. My name is Mark de Potiers, and I'm a sculptor. I work in an interdisciplinary fashion, which means I use various material and methods in my practice. At the moment, I find myself creating outcomes that utilise textiles and installation, but my work tends to examine common themes. I use art as a way to explore my cultural identity, anxiety, and queerness. I'm also a shit stirrer, as you may have guessed, and I'm a big fan of shaking things up. I like to upend assumptions, question stereotypes, or as the French say, fuck shit up. I experienced terrible writer's block trying to think of magnificent things to say to you today. All of them cliche, and schmaltzy, and insipid midday movie snooze fest stuff. So instead I had to think, what could I drone on about? What could I lecture to you about? To suffocate you into a lethargic stupor? What would bore you, Creative Morning royalty, and others? What would bore you so much that you look at the ceiling in exasperation, roll your eyes into the back of your head, or give a sexy knowing glance to the person next to you that this Logie winner speech has gone on far too long? Talking about me, of course. Because art is all about being selfish and insular and self-centered, right? I mean, that's why there are masturbatory things as self-portraits. But no self-landscapes, yet. Anyway, now there's an opportunity. So what about me? I've spent a good deal of my life running away from art, and now that I'm positively ancient and in my 30s, I really feel I'm running towards art, and this has been one of the best decisions I've ever made, other than choosing to be with my current husband. Hi, Tim. Did you remember to take the rubbish out? Jokes aside, I want to talk about what has driven me to immerse myself in the art world again. I grew up on the north side of Meanjin, or Brisbane, in the 90s and noughties near the swampy wetlands of Boondall, or as my dad calls it, Boondall Heights. My father came to Australia from Hong Kong when he was 14 in 1959. I now live where I grew up, went to school, worked, owned a business, and owned a house, before deciding to live out in the boonies of Boondall Heights. My mother came from Guangzhou, China, in 1980 at the age of 30. My parents met here, got hitched, got pregnant, and popped out two of us. One squeezed out of the vagina, and the other through the sunroof. That's me. So after all that, it shits me to tears when people think I'm not from here. Where else would I be from? My dad is 75 years old as the sun this year, and has spent 60 years as an Australian. Mum for 40 years, my brother 35, and me 32. Dad is doubly as Australian as I am, if you want to measure it by virtue of time. So I only know how to be an Aussie. What are you talking about? Often the first question ejaculated from some idiot's mouth when they first meet me is, where are you from? I've learned to say Boondall. But where were you born? Brisbane? No, what is your nationality? Australian? No, where are your parents from? And on it fucking goes until I decide to end the game. My heritage is Chinese, I say, and they are now appeased. Ooh, I knew you were Chinese or Asian. The real fun begins when I return this important question that is so important to know, most often to white Australians. So where are you from? I've asked this question in return so many times over the course of my short life, and in my experience, I barely ever get a response. I'm met with replies of indifference, silence, awkwardness, frustration, anger even. To be Australian is to be white, it seems. Who am I to question your whiteness? And so I grew up with my protective, hard-working, aloof migrant parents in Booney Heights. My formative years, almost 2 decades ago, were a time where all I saw in the world around me was whiteness. As the youngest, television was sometimes a babysitter. And so I consumed images from the media, captured from society and reflected in society, of whiteness. The funny people, the interesting people, oh, there it is. The romantic people, the attractive, the beautiful, the heroes, the smart, the doers, the getters, the powerful, the desirable, even the ordinary. Everything I could be and should be. I could and should, just that I would have to be white. Small thing, because I could never be any of that without it. And well, I realised I'm not white. That might sound like a joke, but it took a while to sink in. When there is a lack of good representation of people who look, act and sound like someone like myself, others don't know how to react to people like me. And it leaves you feeling like an outsider, an other. And so I have never felt worthy enough, or enough. Even now I struggle with it. I am never doing enough. I'm never being enough. And that led me to run away from art. I didn't think I could do it. And I didn't think I could do anything else either. So much self-doubt from not wanting to stand out, but not feeling like I fit in at the same time. You don't think about this stuff as a kid. It is built into your thinking and everyone else's. It is systemic and institutional. I've only started to realise this as an adult and desperately needing to unpack this, unpack my anxiety, unpack my depression and obsessive compulsions, my life, and unpacking what meaning I could find for it. What I needed were good role models growing up. Role models who looked like me, who talked like me. Yeah, someone that looks like this strange beast here, calling himself an Australian with Asian heritage with an Aussie accent. I've realised that as I've become an adult, that I'm being the person I needed to see when I was growing up. And that drives me. Visibility is so important, I've realised. And art has helped with this in so many ways. A happy accident of welcoming creativity back into my life. It's not easy. I still get terrified of putting myself out there. Whether it be exhibiting, speaking, promoting, networking, or even just living or speaking in front of all you people. I'm often an anxious mess in the privacy of my own headspace. My poor husband has to then entice our smush-faced cat to lick up the juices after I mop myself up off the floor. My life is not a community project, I've learned, nor is it a practice run. So I'm trying. I keep trying because I want to make things right for me and for others. So yeah, it's important to invest in yourself, in your confidence, like how I've evolved from an anxious child to anxious adult. But what I really want you to invest in is your sense of humour. I want to hear your best dad joke. Message me on Instagram at Listed Hand. Yes, spelled as it sounds. Think of working too hard. Think of self-love. Think of Listed Hand. A dad joke, for example, is that they told me the theme for today is invest. Invest. That's why I'm wearing this. Boom tish. Because we're friends now, while you're there on Insta and pack a lunch, you can read more about my practice and see examples of my work. But also giggle at ridiculous photos of my boy pussy. My cat's name is Carol, and he looks like this when I tell him jokes. Chloe, Yin, Monica, Hillary, Jimmy, the breakfast crew, and all of you pretty people down there. Thank you for your time, energy, and charisma. Good morning, buongiorno, ciao.